Israeli commandos storm a flotilla of international aid ships heading for Gaza. At least 9 people killed in the attack, some 70 miles outside Israeli territorial waters.
The United Nations Security Council held an emergency session to discuss Israel's raid on the flotilla.
Several European governments have summoned the Israeli ambassador, while the European Union is calling for an immediate Israeli inquiry into what happened.
One died after a while. They were hurt in their neck, in their head.
You know, these people call themselves human rights activists, but they've got absolutely nothing whatsoever to say about the ongoing attacks on Israeli civilians by terrorists.
Israeli officials insist that the activist claims of Gaza's poverty level are completely untrue.
The humanitarian situation in Gaza now is stable. We allow every day for tens of trucks to enter Gaza with food, with equipment.
I have also taken the opportunity to point out, having visited Gaza, the importance of opening the crossings for humanitarian aid to go through to ensure that ordinary people have a better existence than that which I saw.
In order to sustain a normal life, whatever normal is, you need about 4,000 items. Well, Israel has been allowing 81 items to go in. And as a result of the flotilla, they now have said, well, we're doubling the amount that will go into Gaza. So double of 81 is 162. What is 162 items out of 4,000? It sounds good, we're doubling it, and that's all that the media talks about. And people who are not well informed say, well, isn't that great? Israel is really doing a good job. Well, no. I mean, amongst the additional items is, for instance, ketchup.
For the first time in 3 years, Israel will allow soda, juice, jam, spices, shaving cream, potato chips, cookies, and candy into Gaza.
I'd like to say something about Islamophobia. Without understanding what Islam is about, what the religion is about, they're saying that it's a very violent religion and that it requires its members to be violent, to kill, to murder, especially Jewish people. And if you really read the Quran, it is not a violent religion.
Are there ethical guidelines that are similar between these traditions? Absolutely. People often try to focus on the differences in traditions rather than trying to find a common ethical ground on the similarities. It's very important to recognize the differences in religious traditions, but if you focus on the differences, I think you're going to inevitably reach a block.
I've been asked, what is the solution? If I had the answer, we would have found the solution. I think one thing is very important is for people to look at each other not as we and the other, but as we all together. And when it really comes down to it, we're more similar than we are different. And and to have an open mind and to accept each other for who we are and what we stand for, and to, there can be disagreements. There's nothing wrong with disagreeing, but to dialogue instead of name-calling. Name-calling doesn't lead to any understanding, to dialogue. And just be open minds and open hearts. And if we can do that, and it's difficult, but if we can do that, then I think, there's hope. In conclusion, I want to leave 3 challenges with you. The first one has to do with hatred. And it's destructive not only to the person or the group that you hate, it's also very self-destructive. And why do we hate? We usually hate out of ignorance. We hate the unknown. We hate people who are different than we are because maybe they look differently, maybe they have a different culture. And instead, make an effort to get to know people who are different than you are. And as you go through the rest of your life, you'll be making decisions, you'll be making choices. But before you act on it, think about it. And if you think it may be detrimental to someone else, or even to yourself, rethink it, and hopefully you can make a better choice. I'm firmly convinced that each and every one of us not only can, but must make a difference in this life. If each and every one of us takes on a responsibility to right a wrong, then maybe all of us can someday live in peace and in harmony together.